watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something's standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. The highest won't take me. The highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Welcome back to the LCK, everyone. My name is Joe, and for the last time we are here with Anggun and Bidolfer at the OGNE Stadium as they will cover their final analysis of what will be right before the last game we have here in Sangam, and it will be Griffin pulling it back in that game 4 now to pull it back to an all-even scoreline, and game 5 up for grabs for both teams. And of course, with Griffin getting the win, it was important to see how they got the win was the most important thing that we should be focusing upon. And of course, we'll get to see some of the segments as to really where Griffin picked up their advantages, really carried that onto bigger advantages, and eventually did won that game. And let's look at, obviously, of course, the highlights that will come soon, and the Gangplank is going to be midst of the focus, and let's see how they will kind of utilize that advantage that they got, especially in the mid lane was important as well. But all this talking we will cover through this video, and let's look at it here, just a dragon fight as we just began, and really, not really a huge initiation from anyone from Afreeca, really. It was all the initiation did come from Griffin, and you can see with the Yasuo just kind of scaring away, and there's nothing for the Yasuo to do, and just making sure Spirit taking all that dragon damage instead of Kuro in the end. But in the end, it was going to be Kuro kind of awkwardly stuck in the back and nothing for him to do, where he was supposed to be the main damage output and everybody else taking care of the fight just outside the dragon pit. And great taunts coming in from Chovy, and more became to the advantage that was grabbed by Griffin. And of course, Tusin seems like he just barely survives out of that one, but altogether the composition needed for Afreeca to pull the initiation onto themselves, but scaring away from their opportunity was the fault that really took the tolls on the side of Afreeca. And now towards Griffin, we do have another highlight, and of course there's another significant initiation. This was right here. Just kind of camping around that bush was Spirit, but gets caught by the arrow from the Ashe, and now it's going to be connected by the Brahms ultimate, knocking him up. And here he is, and coming in with the Galley ultimate. Heroic entrance is going to knock up literally almost everyone coming in from Afreeca, and all over. AoE damage is going to be fully tanked by Chovy, no problem whatsoever, and everybody else from Griffin is going to be coming in, poking from behind, and just putting in the damage where needed. And Tusin seems like wants to get away again with slim health and just cues for the knockup, but everybody else from Griffin, you can see how comfortable they are, and this time the cow will not get away. And now it's going to be a case where Griffin knows when they're ahead, and when they pull the initiation, they know they're going to get the kills, they know they're going to get the wins in the team fights, and those are the moments that became scary for the side of Afreeca, who did not come out as the victors of that game 4. And let's go over to the fans' reaction before we get to the final game here. And now we are looking at game 5 situation. once again, just an emphasis being put on by the fans of how closely matched these two teams were from the very beginning. We expected this to be a close one, guys, but now we have this game 5 to decide, not even knowing who's going to actually have the advantage to take the win here. We just don't know until we get to see it in the end. And final one-line summary from BitDo before we get to the LCK final. And this is where it is. Inchan, we are Galio. And Galio is just another slang for we are going. So, Griffin, we are Galioing to the Inchan, and that is a good saying for Griffin in the end. We'll see if they can do that. Game 5 underway, guys, but let's see if it takes it.
Thank you very much, Joel. Your translation of puns is probably your least favorite thing, but it's our favorite thing.
Yep.
We appreciate it so much. And he's going to be able to pick up the MVP as well. 7-0-6 for Chovy. He's only died once this series. Pretty impressive stuff so far, especially considering the fact that they lost 2 of the games. But man, Galio looking very, very strong, and it is another pick in his wheelhouse now that Afreeca needs to be careful of.
Isn't it nice when in your must-win, backs against the wall game, your 17-year-old mid laner, the youngest player in the LCK by far, only becoming eligible to play in the LCK in March, is clutch. Almost goes legendary. 7-0-6 on the Galio. A pick he only played once before in professional play. Griffin is trying to rewrite a lot of what we know about likelihoods, about how matchups should shape up. Griffin are still coming into their own as a squad. They want to do one better than SK Telecom T1 did in their first ever split and make it to the grand final. And with a performance like this, once again on the red side, anything's possible.
Yeah, the 3-man taunt into flash 2-man taunt into basically win the team fight by yourself was certainly very impressive by Chovy. And then it was just continuation of the snowball. Griffin just made Afreeca Freecs look silly in this particular game.
Completely agree with you, Atlas. And they ended up being able to close it out. They had enough initiation in the comp because Viper was on an initiating AD carry, which is done twice today. 2 victories, one on Varus, one on Ashe. This ended up being a pretty standard game for most other teams. KT Rolster would definitely draft pretty similar, maybe dropping the Galio for a different mid lane pick.
Oh, I don't know about that. I feel like one of UCal's best champions.
Hence maybe, but at the end of the day, this is how they would have banned. They would have banned Ashe, Tahm Kench, Braum against a team like Gen G. Griffin is showing they can be who they need to be when their backs are against the wall. And now it's all about that draft. Both these teams praised for their drafts when they win and ridiculed for their drafts when they lose.
Yeah.
Now the drafting coaches have only one more chance to stay in LCK Summer 2018.
Okay, we're going to get back to Champion Select. The deciding game number 5 is now upon us. I'm looking at Alistair. So far, he's been banned once and lost 3 times in a row in the last 3 games. So is he once again going to have the same amount of priority? Was he just on the wrong side of the map in a composition that didn't necessarily suit him?
And were Afreeca Freecs on the wrong side of the map when they chose blue side in game number 4, their final side selection. They chose blue, thinking that Griffin were right to be picked. That was not correct, and in the end, Griffin has side selection in the final game because they come in as a higher seed. They will ban away the Aatrox, so no first pick Aatrox like there was in game number 1 multiple hours ago. We're 4 hours into this series. Naturally, fatigue starting to be met by these players, but they've played long scrim blocks, they've played long solo queue times.
They've played here in the LCK where we've had gigantic days, as finally the Olaf is going to be banned.
And that is the adjustment. Looking at the bans, last game, Ryze, Tahm Kench, Morgana on blue side, Aatrox, Rakan, Shen. On red side, we have the Taliyah banned as a response, which is intriguing. Spirit hasn't shown any priority to it recently. Afreeca Freecs have a lot of players with a lot of pocket champions. The Evelynn is always one that's around the corner when you play it as much as Spirit does in solo queue.
Well, Taliyah ban is definitely a response to the Olaf. Griffin considering the fact that there is no other pick into that particular pick is, all right, we're angling for a Tahm Kench on the side of the Afreeca Freecs.
Soraka is the range support that slams Tahm Kench, and we've seen this man on your screen, Viper, do it a few times. So you have to actually already think forward to, well, what does Afreeca want then? If they're already trying to set up for a Tahm Kench answering ban, something like a Varus is very, very high priority. We know about that. Always the chance that something else will slip through like Shen.
well, the Shen or the Tahm Kench are going to make it in, and Rakan is going to be taken away here. So Afreeca get to decide whether it's Tahm Kench, whether it's Shen, but both teams are going to be able to get one of them. It is going to be the Catfish that Afreeca are going to opt into, but with the bans being as weird as they are, a lot of things have gotten through. So Griffin could just lock away Varus Shen on this rotation and be very happy.
They could, but the cost is Tahm Kench, which on the one hand might be small, but given what we've seen in Korea on patch 8.14 onwards, where Tahm Kench has been first pick, first ban the entire time, 1-3-1 play, which again we've said has been the dominant meta in Korea, is made so much cleaner with a champion like Tahm Kench, and he does well in the Shen matchup when it comes to Shen as an answering pick, but because it's Lehends, leaving the Shen up is going to be something surprising to see. The Braum is the better matchup in terms of the laning phase and what it provides, and they will go Braum over Shen.
Okay, now Tarzan, what is he going to lock away? You'd expect an AD carry, but there are still so many things available, and when it's Tahm Kench, you think about all sorts of different options. The Ashe almost has to be the pickup here, but now Afreeca have so much flexibility.
If you give over Ashe Tahm Kench, that's the god tier duo in Korea, so they don't want to give that over. Already mentioned Spirit and the Evelyn. I don't know if that's going to be a first round pick. That'd be a bit insane, but definitely
that sounds
one.
like something Spirit would do.
He has played an amazing amount of Evelyn. The stat when he came back into the lineup was that he had played over the course of 1 week 90 games of solo queue Evelyn and Challenger. But he's going to jump onto the Predator Gragas, so going with it a standby. Braum Unbreakable, very good.
Extremely
against
strong.
the Explosive Cask, so you're seeing what they were able to piece away. They did give open the Varus, if that's what Afreeca Freecs want.
Well, looks like it certainly is. Both of the archers going to be picked up by both teams. 2 seconds to go before that one is locked in, but bit of a no-brainer here for Kramer.
Do
Now,
yourself
Trophy, what does he pick up?
counterpick yourself a little bit and get a Trundle. For the 11-0 Trundle on the side of Tarzan, it's not a great matchup compositionally, but you're thinking of the champions you'd want here. It's something like a Kindred or a Trundle. Neither of them do particularly well against the Gragas. The Gragas Sin is a winning matchup into Trundle, but because it's Tarzan's Trundle, I think that's why they take it. I think you go for the 11-0, you go for something he's so strong on, and they will take the Trundle after all.
They're going to pick that one up, and Spirit did actually look decent on it despite losing in game number 4. So now Griffin with their jungle and bottom lane locked in. That is confirmed. Afreeca exactly the same. We'll see where the bans are going to go as we go into our second round of them. They're going to have that first pick availability.
We know how this is going, right? They're blind picking a top laner, and we're interested to see what Griffin is last picking in terms of top lane. That does interesting things about bans because...
Oh no! Keen really wanted to play Cannon.
Yeah, he's depressed now. He's like, oh, but that was my champion. Do you ban Jace here? As potentially a winning matchup that Sword plays into a lot of the blind pick top laners. What do you think about the Gnar? Depending on where the champion pool gets stretched to, you do ban the Jace because that's the one last pick from Sword that he's shown he can play. He's 4-0 Jace this season.
Yeah, the Jace is absolutely fantastic. Certainly allows Sword to be a very different player. Just don't let him hop on the Cho'Gath. Let him play these crazy power picks, and he's not going to let Keen play the Quinn. We were wondering about the blind pick.
I would say
happen.
it was 90% sure he was going to blind pick Quinn because that just seems like what you do, right? In this clutch game, in this must-win game, you blind pick Quinn. I was already on champion.gg seeing what was working in solo queue. Turns out Pantheon and Garen could have been coming out. Who knows?
Hey.
Into that Quinn. Not going to be seeing it. And now we're getting real personal. This is definitely some directed jabs at both Sword and Keen for top lane bans in the final round. Are you safe to pick the Cho'Gath, or are you still last picking for top lane is the question Griffin must answer.
I feel like there's still so many picks that Keen can go towards, and Sword can go back to a tried and true favorite here in the Gnar.
Is it safe yet? Is the question we can't know. The Quinn is gone, the Kennen is gone, but there are still so many picks you can run into Gnar if you're feeling it. Cho'Gath is a bit of the defeatist, but also potentially can win lane with enough ganks pick. Afreeca Freecs looking for soul lanes, but Kuro could also be on that mid lane Varus.
Yeah. What is he going to be blind picking here? The Zoe certainly going to be the option, but Chovy can go towards the Yasuo pretty comfortably with this composition. A lot of different knock-up synergies to be available, and the Yasuo is a good matchup.
This is one we're interested in, though. We're interested in Keen's pick. This is the one that could make or break the game. They've won this series from Keen's counter picks. You don't have Jace, you don't have Quinn, you don't have Cannon.
You've
What do
got
you take?
Camille.
The
Camille's an available one.
And
The Gangplank there as well.
He's going Yasuo top.
We're doing it.
Of course you are.
The
That's how
Yasuo denial
Of course.
and the counter pick. It's
And-
perfect.
But that's why those picks you're mentioning do things, but they don't hard win top lane. They've won their matches through hard winning top lane. This matchup may not be what it once was, but it's still a decent one for the Yasuo top. Cool to see in this must-win game. Reminds me of Huni running it in must-win games last year. Griffin here, final pick of the draft, mid lane into the Zoe. It's gonna be the Orianna.
Oh no.
They're gonna go for it. It's not necessarily been a consistently winning one. The win wall can do dirty things, even though the win wall's in a different lane when it comes to those team fights. Galio open, other picks open, ends up being Chovy on the Orianna at the last.
Yeah, the last pick, top lane Yasuo, has been dangerous. It's been very dangerous for a lot of teams. This time around, though, it looks like a stroke of genius because Spirit already set up with that body slam. If they didn't pick it up, there was almost 100% chance that Griffin were going to do it themselves. You could see the look on Chovy's face. He looked like someone had taken away his lollipop and wasn't giving it back. Well, that might actually spell the end of their time in the playoffs if Afreeca can utilize their compositional advantage that they built for themselves.
And it feels like Afreeca's going to be very predictable. Get level 6 on Gragas, throw it topside, eventually kill the Gnar. Because if you can set up a scenario where Gnar can't meet Yasuo, Orianna doesn't side lane well anyway, then there's not really many places to hide Atlas. Then you're currently going to kind of be the dogs of war and just be taken down by Afreeca Freecs. But Griffin do have a lot of utility. It all comes down to this, a Yasuo answering pick into the Gnar. So many things banned away, and Keen says, well, if I gotta win it, I'm gonna win it my way.
Yep, and you can see the faces of the Afreeca Freecs, all of them, just looking cool, calm, collected, confident, laughing. Spirit has had a grin on his face this entire series, but on the other side of the Solis Stadium, it's a very different story for Griffin. Everyone looking stalwart, looking somber, looking like this is a deciding game.
But it
so
is.
much pressure on them. It certainly is, but that's not the same faces that you'd expect from a team with confidence. They don't quite have it. Game number 5, ladies and gentlemen. Griffin, can they ride the royal road, or will it be the Afreeca Freecs? Let's find out.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Afreeca Freecs fans, certainly in full voice,
생선까지 30초
they are
남았습니다.
looking like the draft went in their favor. It's the feeling that we're getting after this one. But Griffin, I mean, we had that feeling in game number 1. Griffin was still able to turn around that one as well. What can they do this time around? Backs against the wall. It's once again the Orianna. Is it going to be a 0-0 scoreline once again for Chovy as the Nexus falls down, or is it going to be a different one this time?
Real chance it'll become a game of once-agains, but it's also a game of adjustments. Look at the top lane. Sword has gone Grasp on the Gnar, just to find a bit more safety in the trade. There's a lot of Grasp Swain, some Grasp Orianna around the world in trickier matchups. One of the answering picks into Akali is Grasp Swain in the mid lane, just because you can poke when she uses Shroud and also get those decent trades in earlier with the auto attacks. So, little adjustment there from Sword. It's a matchup that used to be pretty heavily one-sided for Yasuo many years ago. We're talking 2015. And then from there, little adjustments to Yasuo's kit kind of brought him crashing down to earth a little bit when it comes to base health nerfs and little things like that. I feel like it is back to being pretty damn good for the Yasuo, but it is range versus melee, and it's Tarzan on his 11-0 Trundle. We mentioned what Afreeca want to do. It seems pretty clear-cut. Maybe an early gank bot lane, but yet largely, let's get the Yasuo 3 kills and ahead in the build. Tarzan knows that as well, and his pathing on the Trundle has previously been best in class. So let's see what he can make happen as we get a reminder of a game where I said a naughty word. This was a 70-minute game where So1 ended up on the winning side of the Yasuo versus Gnar matchup.
I think there were a bit of yakety sacks being played in that
There
particular
were some
series as well. if I
colorful
remember
yakety
correctly.
sacks, that's
Yeah,
right.
That is very, very true. Good times. Good times. We'll see whether Keeney is going to be able to navigate this matchup as well as So1 did in the previous matchup as well. So far, 4-1 favor of the Yasuo, so it is considered a counter pick here in the LCK.
Now, while it says 4-1 and while it says win, Jin were way behind in that lane, but it just dragged on so long that there were just some comical team fights that perhaps, you know, caused me to use some colorful language.
Yeah.
That was a very unique circumstance. The Yasuo didn't hard win lane or anything like that. I think Yasuo will need some babying to get to the better parts of the laning phase post kind of Berserker Greaves and the Phantom Dance.
Well, you can see Spirit starting on the bottom side means that he will be able to at least be in position if Sword is going to go overly aggressive. Sword, knowing that, is not going to be pushing any further forward in this lane. Tarzan, though, this is the champion that he knows how to path on, the champion that he knows how to control a game on. So far, he's just farming things out. Pretty normal here on the Rift at this point in time, but it's where Tarzan puts himself in the early game that has been very impressive. So far, going for a level 3 gank bottom side.
Tahm Kench is the one you always want to try to trap as the Trundle. Common red side tactic is to, or blue side tactic I should say, is red buff into level 2 gank and then kill the Tahm Kench later. Here we go.
Well, Lahen's going to jump forward. Now going to be able to get the pillar here onto Tucson, but Viper, will he be able to get the stun? Grey Health is activated, but just going to get a lot of damage back into their faces from Kramer and not going to get too much for it there on the side of Griffin.
Lane positioning made that really tricky. Still 2 health potions and Biscuiteer on Tahm Kench. This is 8-15, where you don't get the 3 health potions at level 1 anymore, but need to be further up the lane to make a play like that happen on the Trundle. So just a bit of damage trading and backing away.
But mid lane is also trading a whole bunch of damage here as well, as Kuro's going to stop his back. Chovy just trying to collect the minion wave and find out where the Zoe has gone.
Trundle is pathing topside. Check the Krugs and make sure the Gragas Predator gank doesn't happen. Gonna be spotted very shortly. Very standard pathing from Tarzan. Both teams know exactly what's going on topside.
Yeah, Tarzan also understanding because the Krugs are going to be walking back as well. Going to be able to at least take them down, but a lot of the money does go over to Spirit first off.
And because they were just leashed, you also know that the enemy isn't, say, camping a lane brush or ready to gank instantly onto the Gnar. You know that he's just been moving away from the Krugs, so you have kind of an intermediate level of knowledge about exactly where the Gragas is, so meant that there didn't need to be any real pull away from Sword on the top side.
Yeah. Great part of it, though, was the fact that Spirit was able to get so much deep vision here. He's going to lose his control ward, but a couple of trinket wards in the topside jungle of Griffin just to try and keep tabs on Tarzan. What do we talk about? Tarzan's positioning around this stage of the game especially has been so beautiful to watch on the Trundle. So keeping tabs on him has all of a sudden become extremely important.
Another double Dark Seal build coming through from Chovy. Gonna get ignited as a bit of harass coming through from Kuro. That's not his real ignite.
Very frustrating.
He pilfered that one.
He did.
Tarzan's top side. So much of this game is what the state of this top lane is. If Yasuo is beating Gnar, then in the mid lane, Orianna and Ashe are safe wave clearing, but the enemy team can be so safe. If the Yasuo is losing, then even though Afreeca Freecs would love to have Kuro and Kramer sieging in mid lane together and Tahm Kench to disengage, there's the chance that Gnar is flank teleporting you, and also there's strong engage from Griffin. So given how much of a seesaw game this is around the 1 for the 4-1, feels like so many different people are going to rotate top, and the cost of one of those ganks either going super well or super badly could be series ending, and thus playoffs ending for Sword or Keen.
Both of these comps playing towards 4-1 as well, so like you say, you can understand why that top lane is such a priority. As Spirit, the Predator, is on here as he's looking for Chovy. The flash immediately comes in, and it's going to be traded, actually. It's a good shockwave from Chovy to make sure that Spirit can't be body slam flash ganking anyone.
Saw the blue pings afterwards. Of course, in hindsight, if Tarzan wasn't there, it's a waste of flash, but not knowing that at a precise moment, in a must-win best-of-1, they get the trade there. That's why Tarzan walks up, but he's under-leveled.
Still looking to try and smite steal this one away. The combo damage from Spirit is, of course,
Spirit got
going to be enough. Yep, steals away the red buff, theoretically. Is the flash actually going to be invested because the teleport is coming down from Kane, trying to set himself up for this fight, but no one on the Afreeca Freecs are actually here, so can't commit to it.
Looked like a bad flash. It was actually a very inspired one because they were being pincered from bot side. Ashe and Braum weren't going to be able to get there first and being flank teleported on. So if Tarzan knew if he didn't flash, he would die to somebody. was able to pull away. There was no level 6 on the bot sides. There was no Abyssal Voyage to get Afreeca there instantly. But it would have been fast enough. They would have been taken down. Safety first, the call from so many members. Result of all those trades is a bit of an atrocity when it comes to summoner spell cooldowns on those flashes.
That's very true. So a lot of those buttons now on cooldown on the side of Griffin. Only one of them on Spirit on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. So in this early game means that Afreeca have a slight lead when it comes to gold, but we're looking towards that top lane. We're looking towards what Sword can do to try and hold down the Yasuo. Afreeca Freecs as well. They want to try and snowball him forward, get themselves into the right position. As I love when he uses the Q and then immediately dashes with the Q out.
It's been Sword's life. Almost every game it's been boots to double Dorans and then just a Kindle gem for, well, I hate my life. I got, counterpicked again. Enemy jungle's topside again. That's just the reality Sword has had to put out fires where possible, and Keen has been the match winner in the 2 games that Afreeca have won, so it's been pretty even between the two. More unenviable side of Sword, because everyone loves to counterpick. But being counterpicked on, losing the minimum, and now losing the blue buff, oh, it's a bad feel.
It feels real bad for Chovy. That's it's not good news. But, at least Tarzan's going to have more pillars available. Griffin are going to start this one up. Tucson is going to get stunned. Immediately cleanses. The ultimate from the hands is going to predict the flash coming out from Tucson is now Kramer. Oh, that auto attack so incredibly long range. Tarzan, a couple more autos. The flash from Kramer grabs the first blood. Viper stuns him up. Gets the kill to answer it back. Is the extra money from First Blood enough? I'm not entirely sure because there's no teleport and he loses a full wave.
Flashing in, ends up being the 1-for-1. Can they kill Tucson as well? They cannot.
Yeah, Winter Spike gonna land, but it means that the minion wave makes it under the turret, and that's the big deal. Spirit, though, wants to get it, gets the body slam in there. Okay, just throws it into the Unbreakable. Lahen's able to get out of the way with that one. And Afreeca Freecs unable to get any more. Still 1-for-1.
That's really important that Griffin don't lose a member there. I say, if you run that 10 times, one person at least dies 8 out of the times. It was very unlikely for them to be able to get away. But between the flash from Viper and in the end, the evasive play there, Spirit can't get the bounce, they can't get the kill, and they can't truly punish the 1-for-1.
Kramer going to pick up the wave in the mid lane instead. Thankfully, with Kuro down there, they don't miss out on too much of the experience, but certainly Griffin able to win there just a little bit as Tarzan looking for a Cloud Drake. 10 minutes into this game is going to be where the first Drake is taken.
Kuro was bot lane and out of mana. So this actually ends up being a free Cloud Drake, even though they actually had a ward disadvantage bot side for the longest time. Nice opportunistic stuff from Tarzan. His bread and butter when he's playing the Trundle. Trundle really is a sum of your pathing. If you're pathing ahead, if you're there for the counter gank, if you blow the flash early and they're there with the pillar, you can do a lot. Otherwise, if summoners are up, you do so little. Tarzan 11-0 on the Trundle. Nice little move to get Griffin an early objective.
Yeah, picks that one up for himself. However, Spirit's been able to get around the map a little bit more. Has picked up a few more of these camps. Of course, naturally has a bit more wave clear in the barrels and the body slams, and everything doing a bit more AoE. So we take a look in at what Keen's been able to put together. 102 is going to be the CS, only a couple ahead of what Sword's done. So it looks like Grasp of the Undying has worked out here for the Gnar.
Don't think we can really call a Yasuo lane pre-Phantom Dancer, though, unless Yasuo is the one feeding. If it's just even and Yasuo is farming up CS for CS early game, that's also a bit of a victory, because Yasuo on the top lane, perennially gankable, as we all know.
True.
So it's gone very decently for Keen. He goes back. He's got some nice items to open up. Double Dorans and also the Phantom Dancer. I'll call this lane a little bit later, because if it ends up being Gnar can't visit top lane territory, then Yasuo is going to be oh so happy.
Right now, Chovy, see whether he can answer the potential explosive cast. In fact, Spirit going to hold on to that button. Gets himself safely underneath the turret, thankfully with Dissonance. Gives himself the movement speed to be okay. At least he's being able to continue being safe as the Orianna so far this series. Even in the game they lost, he was still able to stay safe. He's landed the Shockwave as well. I mean, if you call getting a flash landing an ultimate, I say it is. That's probably worth.
To me, the difference between the two comps is that Afreeca's comp has more linear turn-on times. The moment that you see a couple more items on Keen, whether it's an Infinity Edge or a second item, he runs at Gnar, and Gnar really can't do too much to answer him in a side lane without help, and that influences the game state everywhere else. Because right now, the game state everywhere else is super even. between the two sides. Small farm lead in mid lane and bot lane. Small farm lead in the jungle for Afreeca Freecs. Both teams really happy to go mid lane and siege or play as a 4-man group. Griffin have the more reliable engage, but Afreeca have good engage as well. So given all of that, you feel like Afreeca is closer and closer to actually being able to find a lead in the game, but we're just waiting for a flare point, a super play, something around the map to influence the natural tendency of the Yasuo versus Nara matchup.
And who's going to make that first move is the real question here. Who has the ability to do so and when is the right time? Right now, Spirit, he's the one that's been more aggressively looking for the opportunities. So far, it's been Chovy, it's been under the knife. See whether he heads top lane, tries to deal with Sword now that Keen does have that aforementioned Phantom Dancer.
Control ward going to give a bit of a vision advantage. And no counter gank can happen in mid. In fact, there's so many control wards around mid for the side of Afreeca. No map control at all for Griffin. So impressive that Chovy has pretty good CS.
Yeah, he's hasn't necessarily been in the best position when it comes to vision.
They've had no river control, and they haven't lost any turrets, and they got the only Drake of the game. It does seem like eventually the sins of the lack of vision control will be felt somewhere. It's going to be the bot lane out of turret, losing your turret first to Tahm Kench Varus. A real bad feel. We'll see if Afreeca can open up the map with the Tahm Kench ultimate on the back of this.
Yeah. Side lane turret as well going down. Statistics for both of these teams pretty damn good if bottom lane out of turret is first turret blood for any of them. Griffin have been all about bucking trends so far this series.
Be desperate to stop the Rift Herald going down. That's one objective they really can't afford to lose, because then the game will speed up very quickly. Mid lane turret goes down, and Chovy doesn't even have 2 items at the time.
Yep, Sword wandering over there. Like you were saying, lots of pings coming in from the Afreeca Freecs. It's Keen just letting them know. Gentleman Nah hanging out. Tarzan in position now as well. The back going to come in from Lehens, can switch over to teleport, I believe. If he feels like it, decides to cancel as Tucson turns up to lend Kuro a hand.
Usually in these scenarios where laners are trying to lose the minimum counter to already losing a turret, someone has to lose out on CS for Lehens to be chilling around mid. Timings here can be very particular. It's very hard to stem the bleeding, especially against a global ultimate Tahm Kench and a pick initiating CC 80 carry like Varus.
Viper also has that opportunity as well, as Paddlestar not actually going to do anything here as Griffin starting the siege with 4 members here in the mid lane. Thankfully, for Afreeca Freecs fans, certainly a lot of wave clear available.
Orianna and Ashe are in the same lane, so cost of making that play is the minions aren't going the way of the Ashe and the Orianna at the same time. Chovy.
Shockwave once again going to be utilized here. Now just solo onto Kuro, who wanders away. Chovy not going to go overly aggressive because once we said already the vision not available, so couldn't continue forward.
And chunking out someone, even though there's no kill pressure, is still a valid thing to do. It's at the same time as Rift Herald is being started by the Afreeca Freecs. It is going to be spotted, I believe, by the Ashe Hawkshot. Still half health. Varus and Tahm Kench mid lane. What happens next?
Yeah, lots of pings coming in here, and the reason why Spirit pulls away is because Kuro did have to go back to base. So successfully chunking out the Zoe as Kramer clears out that vision. Have the waves pushing a little bit further are the Afreeca Freecs, meaning that they will have control over that Rift Herald area for a little bit longer. You can see control vision still there, because Griffin need to be able to pick up this farm as Tarzan back going to be stopped, and every bit of tempo that they can gather for themselves is good news here for the Afreeca Freecs.
Control wards need to be cemented by Griffin right now. 2 control wards just to not have their mid lane dived or their bot laner be denied farm around the inner turret. Vision control been there for Afreeca. Still no aggressive Abyssal Voyage plays. Those have been a bit slower. Keen farming out topside forever could just mean 2-item Yasuo very early into the game. We never saw the jungler intervention in the end. But overall, we already mentioned that Yasuo just hits item points that Nara in the 1v1 won't be able to answer.
Right now, Lehen's going to get vision into this Rift Herald pit. Spirit going to be the only smite available in this area as Sword. Great position on the Narbar as Spirit locks down the Rift Herald. Chains of Corruption go wide. Lehen's going to survive this as Sword heads back towards the top side of the map. That's exactly the buff they didn't want. Okay, Devour going to be used by Tucson, but immediately Tarzan's there. Tucson takes about half of his health bar as well, but thankfully it's a Tahm Kench on the map here for Kramer. Otherwise, I have a feeling he was dead.
A little bit trigger happy from Lehens on the Glacial Fissure. There just wasn't any follow-up damage to be able to dive in there. Ashe is not there. The Orianna had already used Shockwave, so not sure about that one. Bit of a cooldown trade. Top side, are we getting to that point yet, we wonder?
Is going to be still Wind Wall being very, very useful in the matchup. So we're not going to see the 1v1 happen because Kane decided to disengage. Spirit looking to try and take away this Cloud Drake, second one of the game. Being considered here by Griffin, and they will be able to take it. Tarzan has the smite button available to him, and Spirit decided that he did not want to try and contest.
Bit of a thanks for the leash moment. In all of this action, talking about the scalings and things, we should remember it's once again going to be AP Predator Gragas coming through from Spirit. He usually goes tank second item, but with less items, the Trundle's going to have more of a role in team fights than the enemy Gragas, more sticking power because he can poke in, ult someone, and stay alive. We're seeing the Rift Herald summon in mid lane. The charge is not going to kill the turret, but the reinforcements are here.
Well, Shelly is going to at least be able to get that first charge. About half the health bar now left remaining on that outer turret, but Griffin have set themselves up. They will be able to take that one down. They're at all of the minions, and it just gets that amount of damage, not necessarily anything more. Afreeca still looking for their opening. Right now, they have close to a 2,000 gold lead, things still in their favor.
Ashe on a shopping trip. Kramer, 2.5 items already. Pushing forward, and Trundle can only do so much.
Yep. This outer turret being charged at here by the Varus. Chains of Corruption to get a land, but in comes Joby, wants the Shockwave. Just going to pull in the Tahm Kench, as Tucson does have great health available as well. Sword charging up the Naba. The flash comes in. Special delivery of a potential Mega Gnar, but no. Griffin don't pull any extra triggers. I was expecting a potential flash Gnar to immediately come out, but nope. Afreeca Freecs don't have to worry too much.
So many little things play into that moment. They knew the enemy was on blue buff. That's why they were happy to push up and get the turret. Couldn't quite get it, but now Griffin pushing up 5-man.
Yeah, Kane actually walking around a whole lot of spells, but finally does take a lot of damage. Griffin's turn, not able to get the turret down either. Both teams now with slivers on their outer mid lane turrets.
Of course, no turrets claimed yet by Griffin this game, but the 2 Drakes. A surprise given how much control Afreeca had. They were about back timers from Afreeca. Griffin were off getting the blue buff and spotted on the ward to the right of the mid lane turret from our perspective. And that meant there was that window to walk up, try and punish. They couldn't kill the Trundle, couldn't get either turret, but standing gold in the mid lane is there for both Griffin and Afreeca Freecs.
Well, looks like it's here top lane as well as Kuro on the Zoe. At least shove a minion wave towards it. Answered by Viper, who has teleport. He can be anywhere he wants to, which is why him and Sword are in side lanes. Ruby and Lehens shoving the wave in. Once again, only a few more autos from almost anyone. These mid lane outer turrets are going to go, so Afreeca Freecs and Griffin always need to have someone there waiting to catch these waves.
And that's all become a little bit easier for Griffin, because if you take your eyes to the minimap, the vision game is no longer everywhere is Afreeca's. Griffin is face checking at every moment. They have a lot more river vision to actually be able to cut across the map and make things a bit predictable. Doesn't mean they're in the ascendancy in side lanes, but it means they're not losing out on minions like they were earlier in the game.
Well, right now you can see Keen respecting Sword a whole lot underneath this turret. Mega Gnar is going to come in as now Keen finally able to move up and take down some of these.
Keen is not a relentless split pusher, he's a smart player, so when he doesn't see the enemy jungler or any of the enemy players on vision, he doesn't walk up for fear of being dived. Again, that's a result of the evolving control ward and vision line, because he doesn't just know where every member of Griffin is at every moment and know when to go aggressive. Here we go, special delivery.
Yeah, but vision was available. Kuro still going to get hit. Tucson dodges out of the way of the ultimate, but they managed to get the turret. That is going to be the main thing here for Griffin. Trade a couple of ultimates just to grab themselves that outer.
Call that one worth, though. They do get it. The Gragas ultimate is down, which means Yasuo doesn't have the same threat when he walks up to try to be involved in this play. And speaking of Yasuo, he's here.
Yeah, the rest of the Afreeca Freecs as well are all here. 5 members set up. Paddlestar is going to land onto Tarzan as the Trouble Bubble lands onto Lehens. But the minions dealt with very quickly. Thanks, Orianna. The outer turret remains up.
No Gragas ult there, really consequential, because they can't hard force Gragas because he can be instantly combo. Could be big as Sword, he's got ult soon.
Yeah. Flash onto Tucson, he doesn't have his flash available, and that's going to be
Sword.
Joby grabbing that kill. Keen has to flash to get out of the way after the Gnar. Not going to get too much more, but Griffin, they're ready to take names here in this game.
They definitely are. They turn on in an instant. Sword walking up again. Not going to get a Mega Gnar successfully, but they're walking up for this inner turret, Keen.
Yeah, dodges out of the way of the Shockwave and the Wallop coming in from Sword, but still the pressure available here from Griffin. Spirit, he's popped the Predator, looking to try and go aggressive as Varus is top lane and Kramer is continuing to shove things forward. Spirit, rough positioning there of the pillar means that the Gragas is going to remain safe. Afreeca Freecs continuing to keep pressure on here because they know that they can buy space for Kramer to continue just pummeling these structures. Tarzan will be the first to turn up and respond, but Afreeca Freecs still looking to stop backs.
And Griffin are more about piling on at this point. After Yasuo was out of the fight, they were happy to make plays. Kuro flashes. That was a counterfeit flash.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure there, but wasn't able to get the kill. This should finally be the mid lane outer turret. Griffin have delayed it for about 7 to 10 minutes. Remember, the first turret went down at 13 minutes into the game. Desperately here, 28 HP. It won't actually go down.
Nope.
Oh boy, okay.
Lahen's Unbreakable is pretty damn strong when it comes to denying the auto attacks of the caster minions, which are the most important ones, is the arrow flies on majestically off the edge of the screen.
Where do you think that was going?
To infinity and beyond. Pop Smithy?
Was it Bilgewater? Was it... No?
Oh, I think that was a Zorn. That was a bit of a, that was a Zorn trajectory.
That makes sense.
That's what I saw.
I'm not that good at, reading sundials and things like that, so I defer to you on your Ash arrow trajectories.
I'm the compass guy. Compass guy. Yeah, that was where Viper really wanted to send it. Confusing, given the fact that Ash is certainly not Zorn. That's fine.
Ash herself is certainly not at Infernal Drake, which is something that Griffin haven't revealed just yet.
There's a Shirley's Revelry on Spirit. He can run really, really fast. Bro. Can he get any work done here with his Proto Belt? Tucson says no as he picks him up, throws him back. Tarzan as well in the wrong position as God! Kramer has so much damage, just eats through the health bar of Sword in an instant. Now Griffin, they're on the back foot. They're going to have to get out of the way of this one as Chovy not able to pick up the Drake. It goes to Kramer, which is a little bit worrying for Afreeca Freecs fans. Or Spirit fans in particular, but they should now be able to get that one auto on this turret. Kuro is going to be the one that does that. All too easy. It's Afreeca Freecs back again in control of this game.
Smite being held on to. The Baron threat always there, but Sword has his teleport available when he respawns in about 10 seconds. Chovy going to be forced out. Again, so close to this being game breakers, but it only ends up being a single pick. Griffin kind of feign offense when they don't have Ashe in position. They knew the Ashe arrow was on cooldown as well, did Afreeca Freecs, so happy to walk up. Zoe patrolling the flank means it's a bit of a freebie. Shirelia's Gragas, like you mentioned, is not the Proto Belt or the full tank that we talked about before, so honestly, what does he want to do? He wants to flash Predator Shirelia's his way to a last breath on 5 members.
Yep, and I think that should be something that he'd be able to do, and if Spirit's done anything so far these playoffs, he's gained everyone's trust. Because, man, his Lee Sin earlier on in this series, the rest of his performance is the first time he pulled out the Predator Gragas. Made it look like everyone should have been taking that Keystone. Continuing to do so here today. Even his Trundle performance in the games that they lost. It looked good.
You worry for the side of Griffin is this game going to be in a even state when Infinity Edge is completed on Keen? Because he's almost there. He's gone for Sterix so he can shrug off a bit of burst in team fights, and there's plenty of Wombo on the side of Griffin. But then Infinity Edge is when, either you kill him in the burst or he kites around with a Z and kills everyone. There's definitely the chance Yasuo solo carries the fight. People will say 0-0-0 Yasuo, but a Yasuo spawning with 3 items would be pretty damn overpowered. Just like people used to say if Amumu could spawn at level 16 with 3 tank items, he'd be pretty overpowered.
Yeah, and if I ever saw my solo queue game with a Yasuo with no numbers in the middle column at 26 minutes into the game, I'd wonder what the heck happened.
Well, I'd know what happened. He'd have
AFK.
He'd have 0 CS and not have played the game.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is the rarely seen competitive 27 minutes no kill involvement Yasuo.
I thought it was a myth.
We'll learn something today, Atlas.
Indeed. Well, I've learned that Kramer has a lot of items. Infinity Edge completed item number 3. He's gone pretty classic when it comes to the build. But man, he's going to be dishing out the damage, and they're looking to try and demonstrate that on the target dummy that's big and purple. A lot of mouths.
A lot of spot checks from the side of Griffin. They may not have the Vision of Empires. They have 2 Hawkshot charges and a blue trinket on their AD carry, blue trinket onto the Orianna as well. So very difficult for this vision control to be fully cemented. Toward actually going to be moved off the pit.
Still vying for control around this map is what it feels like, Papa. It feels like both Afreeca Freecs and Griffin, they've both found their stride in their own instances, but still yet to feel like they're the ones in control. Keen especially, like you say, looking for the Infinity Edge. Clear out this minion wave very easily as the back on vision for Sword is going to be cancelled. He's got 2 items that he's very comfortable with, and Keen offering him a lot of respect.
But I just think that changes at the drop of a hat. It's not a matchup that is just Yasuo wins at all points. Very item timing dependent. Nah can theoretically build fairly tanky, but don't often find a lot of advantage around there. And if you have no vision and then Frozen Mallet slow starts and someone's there, well, you just die as the Yasuo. But Infinity Edge will warp that one pretty heavily. Again, the game may be 2-2, 0-0-0 Yasuo at Infinity Edge, 3rd item territory. Kramer pushes up and top. The defensive vision is pretty good from the side of Griffin. Once again, it's about the posture. We're back to tactical posturing in game number 5.
But we're back to talking about item spikes, item timings, and things that are different about this one. It was Oblivion Orb straight into Rabadon's Deathcap from Chovy. He's hit a huge spike right now on this Orianna. Griffin are pretty happy to fight as they've got a stopwatch and QSS done for Viper at the same time.
Probably the person most likely to die is Gragas, because it's AP Gragas with pretty low health or tankiness, just a couple of Kindle gems in the build. So we'll go
Stopwatch
down.
available as well, would help him stay alive for a little bit of time.
Baron started. To the knowledge of Griffin, this is a blue buff timing again by Afreeca Freecs. They know that Chovy's on blue.
He's going to get the damage onto it. Tucson is taken down relatively low, but he'll be okay.
Chovy actually
He's through the
stopped
grey health.
killing the blue because he was so worried about the Baron being continued on, but he's returned to it. We'll get the blue buff after all.
Yep,
Sort of
finishes
timer
up.
where you now know at 40 minutes, sorry, 34 minutes, 30-ish, the blue buff will be started again.
Another Infernal Drake available here as well. 1 minute to go on that one as Kuro, arrow flies forward, but the flash from Kuro is going to be good. The ultimate to come down. They really want to lock down the Zoe. They will do it as Lahens grabs that kill. Just everyone piling on Sword, even teleporting. No, just moving over for the flank. Kept Keen out of there.
And now must be Baron setup time for Griffin. That was a well-coordinated pick. They had deep vision over the wall that Zoe couldn't respect. Tried to flash the arrow. Was still followed up on and comboed after all. So Griffin pull away. Not strong enough to start the Baron just yet, but definitely a signal of intent. Because Kuro, damn is a Zoe annoying with her summoners up. With no summoners, she can be taken down if Tom Kench isn't in a back pocket.
Yeah, not as much of a problem anymore. Keen still has to be respected. He's very close to that Infinity Edge. We've got an extra zeal coming in for Kramer as well. I think he's almost on that 100% crit as now the flash has to be used from Tucson again to get him out of the way. Chains of Corruption fly forward, but that's just disengage from the Afreeca Freecs as Griffin are bloodthirsty. They are ready to fight Afreeca at any turn.
They're back again.
Yeah, looking for even more as that pillar is in a great position. They would have wished for another shockwave, but no, it's not going to be there. Tarzan as well. No stopwatch available anymore, and he's going to get taken down. Sword almost gets pushed back into the team. Is Keen. Look for the knockup. Doesn't get it. Gets pounded against the wall. And Griffin capitalize on over-aggression. Kuro turns up yet again. He's got the Zhonyas that he can sit on, that he pilfered for himself, and so many flashes on the ground. But Afreeca Freecs can't get there.
That was a sick play coming through with the flash away from the Yasuo. He thought he would guarantee his own knockup. Wasn't able to get it. Chovy flashes away. They get the counter kill, but they're still on the patrol for more.
Yeah, everyone's still looking for more. No one can take a breath. Infernal Drake has finally spawned, but Griffin not going to let them have that one for free. The arrow flashed out of the way up from Kuro, but Tucson still has to eat up Kramer, who was on the receiving end. In goes Sword. Dragon does get taken down by the Afreeca Freecs, and Kramer has got so much damage. What the hell is that, Viper? The positioning not great, but he does get himself over that wall. Low health bars here for the Afreeca Freecs. They're the ones that get the Dragon, and somehow Viper survive.
They had the shockwave. They thought they'd get it. Oh my God! That is a half second away from potentially just getting them a free Baron and going to Worlds, Atlas. That is a VOD you watch if you end up losing this game and you were tilted for once as the Zoe player.
Let's have a look at this one again. This was a tale of inches
So it's all about focus. Tucson doesn't have flash. They try to take him down very early. Sword thinks he can get Meganar and come in. He doesn't get there as Meganar was on cooldown. The reason Viper goes on the pit is almost to be a conduit for Chovy and to finish off the low health members. They're not there. Nobody goes down. The Ashe can teleport in. What happens here?
Yeah, Afreeca back on the Baron. All 5 members in the pit at the moment as Sword doesn't get the hop in there, but it is going to be taken by Spirit. Baron locked down. Can Griffin punish them in this position, though, is the question. And the answer looks like no. Spirit even able to dodge out of the way of the Boomerang. Chains of Corruption, and Tucson sacrifices himself for the good of the colony. Might be able to get more for it as Viper is the one that locks down that kill. Sword looking for him. Spirit, oh, that feels real bad. Wallop's gonna miss, but who cares? He gets slapped in the face, and the fat man dies. 2 dead. Baron buff secured by Afreeca Freecs.
Couldn't see the setup there to know exactly how Afreeca diagnosed that it was safe Baron timing, but ended up being correct on that. They lose 2 members. Neither of them are super consequential Barons. You still have Teleport Yasuo with the Baron buff, and Kuro and Kramer can duo for a lot of effect, but this does delay the time at which you have 3 lanes pushed up and a Baron buff with Zoe and Varus. That is the sort of thing that's the stuff of nightmares to try to stop. In this case, it's probably going to be with much less Baron buff duration than 3 minutes.
Yeah, thankfully being able to grab those couple of picks does mean that they bought themselves some time. Now Kuro with the Banshee's Veil, more difficult to lock down now for Griffin, who had been focusing Kuro a little bit in these fights. I'm looking at Kramer though. He's at 4.5 items plus his boots. Varus very, very close to full build. He's going to be doing so much consistent damage in these fights, and it's going to take so much pressure off Keen, who also now needs to be respected as Griffin.
They don't know which brushes they're in.
Yep, Spirit's going to move in as well as Arrow. Oh, just barely misses. Tucson once again with the Devour. This is why Tahm Kench's permaban status, as Spirit can't even steal the red buff with the explosive cast.
We got the most honest hitboxes ever in this LCK 5th game semifinal. Ashe Arrow hits everyone normally, but goes wide there. This is against Baron buff, so Griffin are way out of position.
Yep, and the inner turret is going to go down. Can they continue pushing is the real
try.
question. As in goes Kuro. Okay, everyone just jumping on top of one another. Lehens with the stand behind me, but Kramer commits to taking down the turret, and another Devour is going to be there. Can you guys wait for the 24-second cooldown? As now he's utilizing a whole host of his buttons, but he goes Sword with the Meganar in the back line. It's not going to be enough, though, as they lose their jungler. Kuro dashing forward. Chovy so incredibly low. Lehens with the stand behind me. Chovy keeping himself alive through the Ignite with his Command Protect. But a whole number of their buttons are now on cooldown, and they can't protect this inhibitor as Zoe things are happening across the rift, and Lehens has to cleanse to get his way out of it.
Game will not end there. Keen could not find a last breath the entire time. We've had Blue Blades with the Draven before. We got bated breath today with the Yasuo. Just can't find the connection to actually get the maximum damage out of the kit and close this game. In hindsight, they might have won the game if they got a 4 or 5 for 3 trade there on the side of Afreeca Freecs. The game continues. Chovy knows that if he could get one of these shockwaves that are oh so close to hitting, the game could end.
Yeah, and I was waiting for last breaths for shockwaves that entire team fight. It was Sword that had to come through clutch with the big Gnar into the wall, but otherwise, a lot of the abilities going begging. There is still more that both of these teams can give us in these team fights. 2 Drakes apiece. Next one is going to be the Elder Dragon.
If you could have told Griffin before the season started that they would be at 36 minutes into a Game 5 of the semifinal of the LCK within 5,000 gold, they wouldn't have believed you. They are a team that is very proud, but this is a very different scenario. That was, I believe, a defensive teleport there. I couldn't tell. Yeah. Regardless, they still feel like they can win it. Griffin said they were scrimming for Worlds before they even got into LCK. Let's see how those scrims are going. Close to doing it here, but Afreeca Freecs know one more team fight, the game could end.
Yeah, they also have to deal with Kuro Zoe, who's in a great position at this particular point in the game. Wave clear, certainly there on the side of Griffin, but this siege is exactly what the Afreeca Freecs want to do. They're going to be able to take down the inner turret on the bottom side of the map. No Baron necessary.
Spirit knows that if he just stops Sword from getting in, it stops one of these 3 to 4 man Gnar he's been able to pull off a couple of times in a row. Kind of the ambition role of stopping a flanker rather than looking for a proactive play on the Gragas yourself. Watching the replay here, wow, we had to have a very fast camera movement there. Well done, OGN Observer.
Yeah, really nicely
That
done.
was a Predator gank in terms of observation.
But the Chains of Corruption are now going to be on cooldown, and the Flash on cooldown here for Sword, which is very important. Kane wants to take down this Elder Drake. Remember, all the pressure is available for the Afreeca Freecs, and they've only got 2 members down here. Teleport going to be utilized
So fast
to get Tucson in there. The slow onto Tarzan. He's not going to make it into this pit. As there's the explosive cast. Tucson once again just tanking for his team. Grey Health going to be eating up so much shield available. And now the Afreeca Freecs want the fight. No paddle star to land. And now everyone's inside the pit. Somehow the shockwave only lands onto Spirit. But that's still the first pick in this fight. Windwall is fantastic. Tucson flashes to get out of the way. And Kuro now with so much damage available, but doesn't actually lock it down. The body blocking from Griffin. Everyone's still alive.
The little moments are so insane at the end of these fights. So much value out of the wind wall. The bait onto the Gnar coming through on Sword. Would have flash out if he could. Didn't even have the flash. Goro still looking for exit kills. The generous range on the Trouble Bubbles. They back away. The game state does not change, but there is that Elder onto the side of Afreeca Freecs.
And you were talking about bated breath. My God, every one of these fights is so close to being a catastrophe for both teams, but it's just not happening. Everyone outplaying everyone. Have a look at this. It was so close. Knife's edge stuff.
Will there ever be a Yasuo ult is a question we're asking. We're watching the replay here. Chovy has so much AP. They're able to get Kuro's poke down and then just go through the middle, which is the big move here for Griffin. But at the end, Keen flashes over. Tucson flashes in after the Gnar. Look at the exit kills possible here on another day. Varus gets a random triple kill.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. We extend to 40 minutes. The Gathering Storm procs come in. The series continues.
And the Guardian Angel now completed for Kane. As these items keep flowing forward, you've got Viper. He's almost caught up to Kramer, who had a gigantic lead earlier on.
Well, he got an assist from the 19 damage wrong here. Otherwise, it would have been a sad time for Yasuo.
Oh, God.
The thing is, it may be one of those scenarios where because he hasn't done damage for so long, you forget how much damage this Yasuo can do. Because we're waiting for the first Last Breath Gragas combo. It's supposed to be easy.
Well, Arrow's going to predict the body slam as there's the flash into the Devour, but has Tucson just thrown himself to his death? He has, as Chovy locks down the kill on the Tahm Kench. Baron available here for Griffin. They want to take this. That is a huge portion of the Afreeca comp missing. The Devour is so important.
Watching the turn here, Keen.
Yeah, Windwall is available for him, though. That keeps him alive through so much of what Griffin were throwing out. Want to be able to get
We know that
an advantage.
Mid lane inhibitors respawning in 10 seconds. Here's Sword.
Yeah, jumping forward, doesn't have the flash. Remember, going to push Keen back. Immediately uses his stopwatch, but the exhaust doesn't do anything. He's still got GA, and now Kuro flashing forward. So much damage available. As you were saying, we could forget what Keen's capable of. We had a taste of it just there, but no one going to die. No one going to get trouble bubbled, and again, we're on a knife's edge.
Cleanse flashed out of the Last Breath. This is still bated breath coming through from Keen. We're not even talking flash here. They know the back
Kuro,
spot.
has he just won them the game? Paddle Star lands. It's going to get the GA out of the Ash. Could be a massive deal as we've got everything landing now from the Afreeca Freecs. Lahens teleporting in. Afreeca Freecs want to be able to find this Baron.
But it probably has to be. How can Griffin stop it?
Not entirely sure, Papa. Chovy's moving over. Tarzan has barely
It's a one-way trip, and he
has
goes!
the flash in. He doesn't get it. As Tarzan gets so much back from the Kings. A four-man shockwave as Koro cannot do anything to answer. And Griffin, they may have just won the game off the back of Chovy. That's the double kill. Tucson, he's looking for more, and there's the triple. Chovy, the 17-year-old, the youngest man in the LCK, may have just brought Griffin to the grand final of the LCK.
Can they end? It's so close. Kuro needs to find some picks.
Trouble Bubble is going to land. Tucson, he's available. Kuro, does he have the wave clear? I think the safe answer is no. There's so much damage available from Griffin. Base now broken on the other side of the map. As the inhibitor is going to get taken down, they want to push for the win. The death timers, are they going to be long enough here to get Afreeca back into it? Oh God, Griffin, the Royal Road is still on. Game number 5. Nexus to be taken down, and on the back of Chovy, they've brought themselves to the LCK final.
Amazing victory for Griffin. The anime story is real. This is how it has to happen in the final episode of the season. They qualify for the grand final. They gatekeep Afreeca Freecs from running the whole way, and they could do it. They do better than SK Telecom T1K could 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it doesn't matter. In their first season, they make it to the grand final, and the dream is on against KT Rolster.
And KT, of course, have had their number in the games so far, but in the best of 5 series, even when Griffin looked down and out in this one, still able to turn it all on its head, pick up this victory. Absolutely incredible play from Griffin. They deserve it. All 5 games, the rookie squad, and they get themselves to the final.
Just unbelievable. You can feel the emotion today. They have 3 weeks to back up this performance. They have a lot of time. Afreeca Freecs thought this was their time. This was the charmed life. They had been the team to take down the Elite Four. Well, the third opponent just had more heads than they could realize. It just was so much stronger than we could have known. It was so easy to predict every match of this damn gauntlet. Of course, Gen G would take down Afreeca. What had Afreeca done? Gen G loses, Afreeca easily. Kingstone Dragon X, it's their meta. They're gonna win. They go down 3-1. Griffin start losing, and of course the Young Guns are gonna eventually be outgunned. Their second round robin is way worse. What about the experience on the side of Afreeca? They say stuff it. They say stuff your analysis all year. They have done that. They now are able to end this match at 30-5, make the grand final, make the dream happen. All these young players with no top flight experience are rewriting the possible in a season where basically every LCK meme has had to be extinguished.
And also, it's turning around so many expectations. I mean, the Orianna lost a game 0-0-0, did nothing. We were expecting, Chovy just didn't have very many other picks that he could have gone towards. They went back to a comfort pick for him. He turned that whole game on its head. He picked up the 4-man shockwave that took them to the LCK final in 3 weeks. Unbelievable.
The best thing we ever heard this year was when we were waiting for that promotion match. We're finally going to see 14-0 Griffin. Isn't that exciting? The calls from Griffin were, we're scrimming for Worlds. Of course, we'll make it to the LCK. And they lost that first game of the promotion match against MVP, and you thought, okay, this is where it comes crashing down. Everyone's been waiting for the time when the Young Guns would finally fail. We can laugh at them. They're never going to be able to make it to the LCK final. They're never going to be able to make it to Worlds. They're still not qualified for Worlds. They still haven't won the LCK. But how have they not won your hearts? Young players showing that they can get there in the clutch, and you feel also the emotions on the side of Afreeca Freecs. They cannot repeat in the grand final. They do fall at the semi-final this time. Where are things going to go? One of Score never having won an LCK title, or Griffin Royal Roading in their first season will come true. There is no other possible outcome than those stories.
And KT Rolster already going to Worlds. If Griffin get their way through, they're going to join them. It could be that we have Afreeca Freecs, Griffin, and KT Rolster heading towards Worlds this year. And if you're an LCK fan, you're feeling pretty good about that. Gonna have a look at the damage graph. A damage graph that honestly almost feels irrelevant, but good God, Chovy tore everyone up on the Orianna this game. It's not often that you see a Yasuo with under 5,000 damage done, but he was well kept by Sword this game as well. And the gold was so close. Griffin win, and they're down 300 as the Nexus falls. That's an extra 50 gold that they got on top of it, as it was irrelevant towards the end. Still unable to get to the money that Afreeca had. Playoffs MVP for game number 5. Have a guess, guys. Have a guess who it's going to be. It's Chovy. 8-0-4. Legendary. In the end, on the Orianna, almost got there on his Galio in game 4.
And he could only actually play professionally in March. That's why he didn't play in spring season. That's why they started summer season playing rather a much more macro-orientated player rather than the much more micro-orientated outplay style of Chovy in summer season, because he's so young, he didn't have the time to play with the team. He comes in, he's had a very good split. Very difficult to rate in terms of top 3 mid laners, but when you come up clutch, suddenly your stock goes way up. Griffin's stock is at sky high in the second round robin into the playoffs because they're making it to the final. In the clutch, he was able to do it. It didn't look like they could. They lost that Baron buff, but it ended up getting cleaned up by Griffin, and now they go to the grand final.
But it was so damn close the whole way. You can see Griffin, that shockwave onto 2, absolutely beautiful. That Viper almost fell down. Kuro almost found his targets. But wait for it, biding his time. This wasn't even Griffin able to get too much. This was the Baron falling, like you were talking about before. Just so many small moments where things could have gone one way or the other here. Sword able to lock down Spirit. The stopwatch was there to avoid damage, but still, he's going to die. We're waiting for that one. 4-man massive shot.
But Atlas, even in this final game, all 10 members have a moment they wish they played it better. Even if your scoreline is 8-0-4, could have been 10-0-4, could have been 12-0-0. Things could have gone differently at so many moments in just Game 5, let alone over the course of 5 games. This was a very closely fought series, reminiscent of Gen G versus Griffin in the second round robin. That was a 2-0 on the day, but had the fans rollicking about a QV Na performance. Today, they are all over the place, just losing their minds over how close this was between Afreeca and Griffin, and just the fact that Griffin can keep taking standard analysis, turning it around and saying, that's the standard. We're Griffin. We're the one true story when it comes to making a fantastic run. That OGN adage, that OGN description of summer. Even if they lose the final, didn't Griffin make the fantastic run?
Yep, and there it is. As the Devour was wearing off to lock it onto 4, or as it was coming in, sorry.
Think
Just
of our
crazy.
finals mid lane battle. It is 17-year-old, only legal to play after the first few weeks of spring season UCAL against 17-year-old, needed most of the spring season to be legal to play Chovy. About as young talent you could ever ask for in Korea.
Yep, the youngest mid lane battle for the grand final of LCK Summer 2018. But right now, it's all about the semi-final. It's all about that Royal Road continuing for Griffin. So we're going to throw it over to Joel to take us through the translation of the interview in the end.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel, and it is an absolute honor to provide my translations for the greatest rookie team that I've ever seen, anybody I've ever seen. It is going to be Griffin heading to the finals. Let's talk to them. The entire stadium just erupting in just celebration right now. How do you feel? How do you feel about all the screens now? I feel like, I've just kind of woken up right at the end of the game, and now I feel I can play again. And of course, with your teammates, with Viper, you showed a very exhibitant, and just the way you were showing your excitement at the end of the game when you did win. And this was something we don't see from you every day, Viper. I think if you do come to the right side and you do see the support player, and really the emotions kind of explode right there when you do see someone who's been playing along your side throughout the season. I mean, I don't even know where to begin, but we are now starting at maybe you guys were about to win the game at the latest point in the game. I mean, Oriana Ultimate, that's all there is to it, and basically with the Varus getting cleaned off, and we knew basically that was going to be our victory. Of course, we want to talk about the games themselves, but let's talk about the big picture just a little bit. And we heard that, Tarzan, you were really selective on the Olaf all day today, and maybe it feels as if you were just kind of trying to counter out Spirit altogether on that one. I didn't want to give the Olaf over to Spirit, and it does counter the Talia pretty well. So whenever, just kind of preemptively banning out, self-banning that champion altogether was Olaf's objective there. And maybe some people were saying the Olaf wasn't very good in terms of how its actual contribution to the games were actually in the end. I think I have to agree. Well, with the jungle fights that came up from the earlier parts of that games, and with Spirit, and feels as if he was on the top of his game all throughout the series. It was really difficult for me, you know, all the games in, and I had a tough time trying to get any type of advantage. And sure, it was a dangerous situation for you guys all, but and with Viper, and maybe we were thinking about who would use the non-traditional ADCs, going with the mage meta a little bit back again, but and it feels as if. What do you think about maybe your possibility of playing those mage ADCs? You know, I kind of looked at Yasuo at one game, but otherwise I knew I had to go for the win. So there was a thing where other picks, I did think about it for a bit, but all the things came together to a phase where, you know, the conventional ADCs made a lot more sense in most of our games. But I think it wasn't definitely prepared enough to pull it out in today's games. Well, in the end, now you have really broken the curse altogether. And that Orianna, we thought was a losing pick altogether for everyone else in the LCK but you, Chovy, and you are the one to put the golden crown upon the Orianna's head, and oh, that is looking good right now. Yeah, I wasn't really nervous today. Of course, it could be a team secret. And maybe, did you feel maybe your decision, Chovy, were more important than maybe the coaching staff telling you to pick Orianna? I did say that I was gonna play the Orianna today. So showing a lot of confidence on that pick, fittingly for such a top player like Chovy. And now we did hear from you in previously into interviews where, and now you're just showing a lot of confidence in that champion. And you did receive MVP twice today, and maybe you want to reflect on your plays today? I think I was personally very satisfied with my plays today. And now it is Griffin's first longer games where best of 5, it is the first time. And how was that altogether, that experience? I was kind of nervous a little bit, I was shaking, but I think my teammates were a bit more stable. I think the coach was pretty scared, wasn't he? Well, I mean, he didn't say anything, so I wouldn't know. He was definitely focused, the head coach there, but... And with Sword, let's have a talk with you. And really tough series for you as well. You had to endure on through so many instances, and now you had that top lane all to yourself today. And with the picks and bans, I tried to pick the champions that I was very confident with. And with the counters, the opponent top laner did so well. I had to congratulate him for how well he did today, and it was a tough matchup altogether. And I think because of my teammates doing well, we all did well today. And let's look at where Sword did well. You know, he's putting the credits over to his teammate, but this is where the credit is due, where Sword makes plays like this, and it is very fitting that you would put yourself at a credit for winning the game. Plays like that. And I was trying to look at what Tarzan was trying to call off the ganks, and I was trying to contribute the best I could onto that sub gank. I mean, Sword, he's never giving credit to himself, but maybe towards Tarzan a bit. And Tarzan, let us ask you. Of course, did you feel maybe Sword was having a tough time in top lane for everyone who's literally bullying him in that top lane altogether? Yeah, I think it was tough for me and tough for Sword, I'm sure, but it was a tough matchup altogether, with the top lane being put a lot of emphasis on by the Afreeca Freecs side. And let's talk over to Lehens just a little bit. In that game 1, maybe you thought that the support bans that were coming through made it really tough for you in trying to select something from there. I think with Tusin, he definitely has a lot of similar champion pool compared to mine, and he thinks similarly as me in the line of thinking of how to play the support, and he does have a similar output on that one. But, you know, when you're swapping champions like that with a limited pool of champions, that's kind of what I had to go with today. And now you were trying to make the initiation. It's been all about you, and Braum was really about making that initiation. We thought you would do that. What was kind of the important thing today?
같은 경우에는 모르가나 제외하면
I mean, for Braum, other than perhaps Morgana, if you don't make any mistakes, you can never lose lane with Braum. So it's something that I kind of wanted to really emphasize that pick altogether. And you do have the players who really put out the significance of what they contributed into making those plays today. And with the playoffs, I'm sure you did a lot of preparations to get here. Maybe you want to point out some pointers. I can't really think of anything right now. Of course, the coaching staff, maybe you were talking about the coaching staff saying that if you guys lost, then it was basically due to the fault of the picks and bans. We were trying to practice our ways, and it was really the big picks and bans were coming towards our expectations, so it made it a little bit easy for us. And really, it was all about the composition for both sides being heavily varying in terms of the playing styles of the composition that was differing all the way through. Yeah, I had a tough time just kind of covering the sides, and I knew I needed to do that, but it was hardest to come by. And what we were curious about was that maybe Lehan's. And did you feel maybe your mentality was getting shaken? I mean, it was a long match of games, and you had to come all the way to Game 5. I mean, I did try my best, so I think I try not to blame myself on that one, but try to do better next time around. And now we are talking about the next game, and with Viper, everything now all towards your favor. You are facing off against KT Roaster in the grand finals, and I'm sure there's a lot of thought process in terms of how you guys are planning that game ahead. I knew it was going to be a tough one to even get to this phase, and now that we're here with the team fight, macro, anything you need to do to get a win, we're going to try to put all full energy, full impact onto trying to win our game. So that's going to be our preparation going to that one. And now, on the next games, it could be the Incheon, where the Samsung World Gymnasium is going to be the next stage of play. I'm sure it will be a very significant one for you guys, but anything you want to say before the finals begin? I mean, we're all throughout these tough competitions, we are finally in the finals, and we're going to prepare just as hard for this finals, and we will try to get the results that we're wanting. And we'll try to make it entertaining as well. We'll never forget that part, and something that we will keep our promise to you guys. And that is going to be the end of the interview with Griffin. But something that I have to announce is going to be my final translation for the LCK. And I just wanted to say that it was a pleasure being a part of this program, and sending off to the last time, for the very final time, it is going to be off to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Incredibly sad to hear you're not going to be with us anymore, but you will always be there in our hearts and on Raid Call or Discord or Skype, depending on where you're going to live.
We can tell him to Storm Mumble. He'll work it out. But definitely a lot of endings today. Afreeca Freecs run in the playoffs ends. They do not qualify for Worlds today. However, KT Roaster beats Griffin. Afreeca Freecs are in on points. So there's still the chance that Afreeca Freecs will get a favor. If not, they will be the big boss in the regional gauntlet, which is a possibility as well. If Griffin loses in the final, they'll actually have to play from the second round of the gauntlet. They won't even be into the final because they only have 90 circuit points coming through from Summer. Coming up next, the date is the important thing here, guys. We have a 3-week break due to Asia Games, meaning the grand final is 3 weeks today at Samsung World Gymnasium in Incheon, the same place at the World Final, just had its venue announced, will be played in Incheon. It's not the same venue, but the same area outside of Seoul. KT Roaster with Score, with the super team that never found the title in 4 splits together, takes on the Royal Roaders Griffin. One team has to win. One amazing narrative, whether it's the 6.5-year story coming to an end for Score, or Griffin writing the anime storyline and delivering. It feels like either victory is a story that no one will ever forget.
Exactly, and KT, they're already going to Worlds, so you can get as excited as you want, guys. There's no disappointment to be had, even if they do lose the LCK. So even KT fans are happy looking towards this final. And Griffin, if they give us another series like this, I straight up don't care what the result is of that final.
They've already
because
made
it's already just incredible.
They've already made the fantastic run. And thank you guys for joining us for LCK at the Sangam Arena. That is the OGN Arena. We've been in this venue for now 2.5 years. We were previously over at Yongsan. This is the last LCK match day at OGN. Of course, there will be the final over at Incheon Samsung World Gymnasium. That is an OGN broadcast, but not done out of the studio. So there is a bit of finality out of some of the ramifications of today, and the season also ends when it comes to regular season and playoffs for everybody except KT and Griffin. Griffin have an interesting advantage. They can practice as an entire squad, whereas Score will be going to Jakarta for the Asian Games.
Yeah, trying to take Keen there with him as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for us for tonight's semi-final. It was an absolutely unbelievable 5-game series, and Papa and I will see you for the grand final in 3 weeks' time. I don't know how we're all going to wait. It's going to be incredibly difficult to hold ourselves together while we anticipate KT versus Griffin, but it is going to be an absolutely incredible series when it happens. Guys, for now, good night. Good luck waiting. We'll see you in 3 weeks.